From every angle, this looked like a bad investment. I didn't even want this house. Okay, found myself a little quiet office here. It is the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. I'm a real estate agent and no one is buying or selling houses right now. So I went for a walk today and I figured, let's start a YouTube channel. What am I going to talk about? And on my hour walk, I wore my gloves, by the way. You can see those. Wasn't touching anything. I decided to come to my office today. It was a ghost town. I'm here at my office right now, and it is empty. Got some offices here. Empty. Front desk. It's a ghost town in here. And I wanted to set up my first video. So bear with me for a second. I've never done this before, really. So if you do like this video, give it a like and subscribe to it. I'll try to make some more. Like I said, I'm a real estate agent and with 15 years experience. And the first story I want to tell you guys is the rental that I didn't want. It's crazy. My first rental about 4 or 5 years ago, I was helping this gentleman sell a house. And nice enough guy, but man, did he smoke a lot in his house. Like, just picture, you know, nicotine stains like that are yellow. If you take a picture frame off the wall and you see the outline of where the smoke damage is around the picture, it was a lot of that, especially in his living room. And I kid you not, it was literally nicotine stains dripping down his walls. It was disgusting. There were beer cans everywhere. Every time I went to see this guy, I had to go knock on his door. I'm wearing, you know, collared shirt, maybe a tie or something, decent clothes. And he opens the door and just, whoosh, like in your face, smoke hitting you. And it's like hot, it's the middle of the summer, and those things just don't mix. Anyway, this guy wants to sell his house, and I'm all about selling people's houses. So we signed the papers up. We agreed to list the property for $1,099, so just under $110. I had clients, believe it or not, that asked about it, and I'm thinking, great, I'm going to make both sides of the commission. And they went through it. They were like, yep, let's buy it. They wanted to fix it up. They see the value in this thing. It was a cute little brick bungalow with a garage, concrete driveway. It's pretty nice, and if it was all fixed up, I actually could have sold for a little bit more. But who can see past all this smoke and damage that this guy's done? Well, these guys did. So they put an offer in, full price, $1,099. They wanted a condition of financing, and that was it. So I sent it to the guy. The seller, he decided to sign it, and this is where it gets weird, because he must have been just not himself, because he then says the next day or the day after that he doesn't remember signing. So I think he was like blackout drunk maybe, or he regrets it. I don't know. This very contentious part of the story, because I feel bad, because you would never want to make someone sign something that they're not aware of or they don't know what they're signing. So I called my buyers. I was like, he wants out of the deal. Let's get out. Both lawyers agreed. Let's get out of the deal. So I then canceled the agreement as well, because I didn't want any bad feelings. I was like, look, if you feel like I coerced you into signing this, here's the contract back. It's all yours. You can go hire somebody else. So he takes it off the market. Then he calls me up again, like the next year. Like months go by. Like I think it was 10 months goes by. Calls me again, says he wants to sell it. It's time, he's got to get out of there. I said, okay. So I go back there. Now he wants to list it for $119.9, because that's what one of his friends told him to list at. I said, fine, whatever. We listed up again. Can't take really any pictures of the inside, because it's not getting any better inside. It's actually getting worse. So we get it listed, and it's been on the market, no bites. Everyone doesn't want to buy it because of the smoke smell. We finally get some nibbles, but nothing crazy, nothing concrete. And then I think it was around September, his furnace goes. And this guy's got no money. This is basically the reason why he's selling. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a hero. I feel bad about what happened last year. Let me help you. I'm going to buy you a furnace. I should say, we ended up getting a deal on this property. He wanted $119,900. The offer came in at $118,000. The only condition was he needed to have his furnace inspected, which we did. But during the furnace inspection, the furnace guy shuts off the gas to his house and says it's old, it's used up, there's a crack in the condenser, there's CO2 coming into this guy's house. So lo and behold, I buy this guy a furnace. I get on the phones, make sure that this thing happens quickly, and I think we got it that weekend, an emergency furnace replacement. And the buyers, I call them, or call the agent for the buyer and say, hey, I just did this for you guys, brand new spanking furnace for you, congratulations, good deal, let's sign the papers and be done with it. Would you believe it, the buyers back out? So now I can't control it, there's nothing I can do. The buyers back out, they want out. Apparently the buyer at this time was buying it for his daughter, and his daughter had never seen the house before. So during the little furnace inspection, the daughter comes and sees the house and goes, Dad, there's no way I'm living here, this is disgusting, look at this place, I'm not living here. Dad, I'm not living here. And so there goes that deal. So, put the house back on the market, $119,900. The furnace guy wants to show the buyer where to put the filters and show him how it works and all that stuff. This guy's a little paranoid, he wants me there during that. So I'm in the basement with the seller at the time and this furnace guy looking at the furnace, showing him where to put the filters in. Not rocket science. While I'm down there though, I poke my head, I open the door to a bathroom he's got in the basement. And then I look up in the ceiling and there's like this little spot, but it is black as night mold in the ceiling. And it's physically dripping water. And I look at the seller, I was like, man, like, what is going on here? Did you know that this was going on? And he's like, yeah, no, I haven't been down here in years. I'm like, oh. So I jokingly said to him, I was like, I'm gonna have to buy this house from you. This is ridiculous. And that's when he says, I'll give you a great deal. I want out, get me out. So anyway, nothing happened. I said it as a joke. I didn't want it. I didn't want a fixer-upper or a rental. I wasn't in that game. I have 2 young kids. I'd rather just sell real estate. I wasn't into the renter game. I heard a lot of horror stories of people. Now, oddly enough, looking back, the only stories people do tell you about rentals are the nightmares. You don't really get the good stories. So anyway, hopefully this turns into a good story. We get the furnace figured out. I noticed the dripping black mold coming from his basement. And then that same week, literally the same week, a tree falls in his backyard onto his hydro lines that are bringing hydro to his house. And he's like, I don't know what to do, man. What do I do? I was like, well, let's call the tree service company. So we get a tree service company over there. This guy obviously doesn't have any money, so I then tack that onto this bill. So there's another $1,500. I think I'm $6,000 into this guy's house, and I don't even own it. Like, it's the stupidest moves I've ever done. Like looking back on this, I don't want to even tell you what I've done. But at the end of the day, I keep thinking about, do I have to buy this house from this guy? So we talk about the price, and I said, look, let's just get it over and done with. I'll buy it from you. And we ended up agreeing to buying it for $100,000. With all the damage that was done, with all the money I've put into the house, plus less the commission, all that stuff, we agreed to the $100,000 price. Nice round figure. He signs, my wife and I sign, and now it's, holy crap, we have a house that we don't want. And I don't know what to do. I'm not really handy that well, but I can learn. So I kept looking up, how to get the smoke smell out of a house. I looked up how to paint different types of material and coatings and stuff like that you could put on, sealants and stuff like that. Long story short, this guy gets out of the house finally, and we have control of it. So we hired a couple guys to literally scrub the entire house, took out any curtains, took out any material in the house, and threw it out, and then cleaned up the ducts in the house, got those all cleaned out. The new furnace was working great. And then repainted the whole house with a sealant paint. I can't remember the brand name, but anyway, it was perfect. And a couple coats of that, especially in the living room, was the hardest hit room, but we did the whole house. All the while, I put up an ad thinking I should rent it out because I didn't want to flip it at the time, because I was going to flip it for, maybe list it for $119,900, $129,900, and really not make any money. Once you start paying commission out and you pay lawyers' fees and land transfer tax, all that stuff that goes in with it, I might actually be losing money. So it wasn't actually smart to resell it right away. So I figured, why not put some tenants in there? I've helped dozens of people buy houses for rental properties, and I've helped them all along the way. I've told them how to do it. I'm like talking myself into it as if I'm my own client. And finally I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's host an open house in our little town here. Rentals are pretty good. There's some good money to be made, but there's also a lot of fraud and crime associated with it as well. Tenants know their rights and they know how to work the system. So I put up the ad. We get a lot of people interested, and I just took the strategy of, here's an application, bring it to this weekend's open house, hand it to me, you get a chance to see the house, and then I make my decision that next week. So we have an open house on Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3. I had about 8 or 10 groups through the first open house, and then a lot more people through the Sunday open house. I even had people call and say, I can't make either, can I come this day or that day and make an appointment? So I did my best to try to get those people through, and you saw all sorts of different types of people. Everyone had a sob story. There was quite a bit of demand for a style of house. It was just a bungalow, 1 floor with a basement, single detached home. But the big thing was, you heard a lot of sob stories. I was really worried I was going to pick the wrong tenant. And then there was 3 groups out of, I think there was 12 groups total, and 3 of them, that's when the light bulb went off. I wish I had 2 other homes for the 2 groups that I didn't pick. I ended up picking this one young couple, really nice, just starting out, just wanted a place for a little while just so that they can collect their thoughts, get out of their parents' house, and then go buy a house. And here I am thinking, realtor, I can help you in a year or so when you are ready to buy. So I'm thinking this is a win-win. I can keep putting tenants in there that are first-time home buyers, and this could just go around like clockwork. So then I started to get a little excited. They signed on the dotted line, and that was it. They moved in quickly, and to be honest with you, I haven't really heard a peep from these guys. And throw the cherry on top, where the tenant is actually works in the trades. He's a carpenter. So he retrimmed my whole house, and any work that I want done, he's all game for it. And they treat it really nice. They treat it like it's their home, and they've just been totally upfront and honest. And I couldn't have asked for better tenants. I think, the landlord God smiled down on me, and they gave me really good first-time tenants. So the house that I never wanted, nor did I want to rent it out, ended up being one of the better decisions we've ever had to make. We put 20% down payment on this property, so it took the mortgage down to around $80,000. The carrying costs on this home were under $400. I think it was like $365 a mortgage on this property, plus taxes and insurance, and I paid for the utilities as well. That was one of the reasons why so many people were interested in this property, was I included the utilities. So I ended up asking $1,300 a month, inclusive of utilities, and I had a lot of people interested. And this house cash flows about $500 a month. So with no excuses on with picking the tenant and them staying there for so long, they've been there now for 4 years, and not even a question about the house, or no issues after the fact. It's been absolutely fantastic, and so I don't regret it at all. I wish I had a couple more, and that's what's got me started. So the first rental in our little portfolio here, we only have 4, but 4 is getting up there. We're starting to see it as a little business. It's a way for me as a realtor to have a pension when we're retired. So that's the way I'm looking at it now. But that's the story of our first house, our first rental property. And that concludes the first episode on my new YouTube channel. So again, if you liked it, please give it a like. It definitely helps with the algorithm, so right here. And let's see how many views we can get on our first episode here. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. Take care, and we'll see you at the next one.